When I was 21, I took up a job in maintenance and custodial duties at a daycare nearby. Situated just around the corner from my place, it seemed like a convenient gig, but little did I know. Behind those doors lay unsettling secrets. The task of disposing of trash, arranging furniture for special events, conducting preventative maintenance, and ensuring the safety of the environment was just the beginning. I also had to keep supplies organized, equipment well maintained, and report any suspicious activities that might endanger the children. The days were demanding, especially as I often worked alone, save for an older colleague named Bob, who saw himself more as a supervisor than a co-worker. Often he'd leave early, leaving me to close up the facility by myself. One day, it was a Friday, and as usual, Bob had left early, leaving me with a list of tasks to complete. I had to clean up the classrooms and transition from Thanksgiving to Christmas decorations. As I lugged boxes of decorations up and down the stairs into the dark basement, I began to hear faint, almost childlike voices echoing through the deserted hallways. It was as if someone was calling out to me from a distance. Despite the chills running down my spine, I pushed aside my fears and continued my work. But the voices grew more persistent, as if someone was toying with my mind. It was dark now. The daylight had faded, and I was left alone in the shadowy basement. As I tackled my task, I heard a dull noise coming from a distant room. My heart raced, and with bated breath, I ventured into the darkness. When I reached the room, I saw a dark shadow moving stealthily among the boxes. Terror gripped me, but I tried to convince myself it was just my imagination. However, as I approached it, I saw a toy car moving on its own, as if being pushed by an invisible force. I shouted out in disbelief, asking who was there, but received no response. Only an oppressive silence enveloped me, broken only by the sound of a plastic object falling to the ground behind me. Without even turning around, I bolted from the room, racing up the stairs with my heart pounding in my chest. Once at the top, I slammed the door shut behind me, locking out the terror that had gripped me. With my heart still racing, I contacted Bob, but his response sent chills down my spine. He told me to call the police, convinced that there was a lost child in the basement. Yet, when we looked into the room, there was nothing but boxes and containers of supplies. The fear drove me to quit my job just before Christmas, refusing to ever set foot in that basement again. But my encounter with the darkness and the eerie was far from over. On another occasion, after a grueling day at work, I returned home exhausted and hungry. After quickly eating something, I fell asleep on the couch, hoping to regain the energy I had lost. Around 11 at night, I jolted awake, hearing a female voice calling my name. In a fit of terror, I searched desperately for the source of the sound, but found no one. Convinced it was just my tired mind playing tricks on me, I went back to bed. But the terror returned when I heard the voice again, this time coming from my own bedroom. Trapped by fear, I switched on the light and scanned the darkness, but found no one. Only the spectral echo of the voice calling out to me. Dream or reality? I never found an answer. But the terror of that night left a deep mark on me, leaving me to wonder if the darkness held something far more sinister than I could ever imagine.
When my cousin Cody and I were in our early 20s, we embarked on several camping adventures around Colorado. This particular incident occurred when I was 22 and Cody was 23, deep in the Urea forest. While it was my first time camping there, Cody was already familiar with the area, being the seasoned outdoorsman that he was. It was a weekday, and our flexible schedules allowed us to escape the hustle and bustle of city life for a midweek camping trip. As usual, I let Cody take the lead. After all, he was the Eagle Scout, not me. Parking near a picnic area, we ventured into the woods, seeking solace in nature. After about 15 minutes of hiking, we found a suitable spot to set up camp, a spacious clearing big enough for our tents, portable stove, and campfire. While Cody effortlessly pitched his tent in a matter of minutes, I struggled with mine, taking over 20 minutes to get it right. With our shelter sorted, we proceeded to create a ring of stones for a fire, gathering sticks and wood to fuel our evening. Though Cody brought fire starters and a lighter, I couldn't help feeling like we were cheating a bit. But hey, survival in the wilderness sometimes requires a little help. As the sun dipped below the horizon, we lit a fire and Cody began cooking steak and burgers over the flames. Cody always went all out with the food on our camping trips, and I never complained. His culinary skills were unmatched. Of course, we kept our bear spray close at hand, just in case the smell of our feast attracted any unwanted guests from the forest. As we savored our meal, cracked open some beers, and listened to classic rock on the speaker, I couldn't help but appreciate the serene vibe of our wilderness retreat. There's something truly magical about bonding with a friend in the great outdoors, reminiscing about good times and vibing to music under the starry sky. As darkness descended, we transitioned to playing card games on a small folding table we brought specifically for that purpose. After exhausting traditional card games, we moved on to Uno. It was during one of these intense Uno battles that we heard something stirring in the woods. Pausing the music on my phone, we strained to listen, and sure enough, we heard the faint sound of humming and footsteps emanating from beyond the trees. Cody quickly urged me to find the flashlight, but by the time I located it, the sounds had faded into the night. Feeling uneasy, we returned to our card game, albeit with the music now lowered. Then, out of nowhere, a large stick landed in the middle of our campsite, causing us both to jump in fright. Cody, ever the brave one, shouted defiantly into the darkness, but the unseen intruder remained elusive. Despite our growing unease, we decided against packing up camp in the dark. Instead, we opted to keep our bear spray close and take turns keeping watch throughout the night. Cody volunteered for the first shift, assuring me that he would stay up and read his book while I tried to get some rest in my tent. However, my attempt at sleep was short-lived, as I was awakened by a strange sensation. Peering out from my sleeping bag, I saw a figure outside my tent, or so I thought. Rubbing my eyes, I called out to Cody, only to hear the zipper of the tent quickly close. It was then that I realized Cody was fast asleep beside me. Terrified and confused, I shook Cody awake and told him what had happened. After a moment of disbelief, he sprang into action, grabbing his bear spray and suggesting that I sleep in his tent for the remainder of the night. With our cans of bear spray at the ready, we huddled together, listening intently for any sign of the mysterious intruder. The night dragged on, each hour feeling like an eternity as we waited for dawn to break. When morning finally arrived, we wasted no time in packing up our camp and making our way back to the safety of civilization. Though we could have ventured to another campsite for another night of camping, neither of us felt up to it after our harrowing experience. It's been 6 years since that fateful night, and while Cody has reached out to me about camping again, I find myself hesitant to return to the wilderness. The memory of that night still haunts me. The feeling of being watched, the unexplained footsteps in the darkness, and the chilling sight of someone peering into my tent. As much as I love the outdoors, the thought of encountering another stranger in the wilderness fills me with dread. Some experiences are simply too terrifying to forget, and for me, this was one of them.
So, I recently landed a job at my neighborhood liquor store, just a quick 5-minute jaunt from my place. And let me tell you, it's been an unexpectedly awesome gig. The vibe here is so laid back, and since I'm a local, I already know a bunch of the regulars who pop in. It's been a great way to reconnect with folks I haven't seen in ages. Anyway, one day, in walks an old high school buddy of mine, let's call him Steve. We hadn't crossed paths in years, so it was a pleasant surprise. We caught up, reminisced about old times, and made plans to hang out with another friend soon. Funny thing is, we ended up chatting about this mutual friend of ours who had a knack for spinning wild tales. Steve likened him to Paul Bunyan with his tall tales, and we shared a laugh over it. Steve grabbed some of those popular beatbox drinks from the store, and I remember asking him if they were any good. His response? "Oh yeah, they'll definitely mess you up." Fast forward a bit, and I noticed my coworker Diane acting a bit off. Turns out she had some heavy stuff going on. She asked me about Steve, and that's when she dropped the bombshell. He had passed away. I was stunned. Diane didn't reveal the cause of death, but it weighed on my mind. A few days later, I finally had a chance to talk to Diane. But before I could, our manager showed up, and Diane went off to chat with her. I overheard something about cleanup expenses, which left me feeling a wave of sadness for Steve. Later, when I had a moment alone with Diane, I opened up about my friendship with Steve. And man, did she open up to me too. Turns out, she had a similar experience in the past. We bonded over our shared grief, and I learned more about Steve's life: a newborn, a partner of 8 years, and a devastated 4-year-old son. Things took a strange turn one night at work. Restocking shelves in the quiet of the early morning, I felt a presence, like someone was there with me. I had a gut feeling it was Steve trying to reach out. And then, bam! The drink he used to buy crashed to the ground, like a frustrated sigh from beyond. I called in some friends to keep me company and poured a few stiff drinks to calm my nerves. When I told my mom about it, she offered some Buddhist wisdom and a prayer for positive energy. The next day, with my mom by my side, we played the prayer at work. And wouldn't you know it? A foam cup gently floated through the air, a peaceful sign from Steve. In the end, I believe that prayer brought closure. Steve's subtle gesture felt like a goodbye, a reassurance that he was at peace. Losing a friend like that is tough, but I hope his story serves as a reminder. Tough times pass, and there's always a way through. Taking your own life only adds to the pain. So hang in there, folks. You're not alone, folks.
This is the poignant tale of two individuals whose lives were intricately connected by a remarkable twist of fate. Maria, an elderly woman residing in hospice care at a nursing home in Odessa, Texas, and her son Giacomo, also under hospice care but living in Midland with his devoted wife Carla. As they faced the final chapters of their respective journeys, their paths converged, albeit separated by a mere 20-mile distance, while Carla valiantly undertook the task of caring for both of them. Maria, despite grappling with advanced dementia, seemed to retain glimpses of her former self. My visits to her twice a week often began with the need to reintroduce myself, yet her tales from yesteryears never failed to evoke a sense of warmth and nostalgia, even amidst the repetition. Her moments of confusion often led to endearing statements, like her whimsical plans to engage in a game of baseball, oblivious to the physical constraints imposed by her frailty. Meanwhile, Giacomo's health steadily deteriorated. His once robust demeanor now gave way to a frailty that bespoke the nearing end of his earthly journey. Anticipating his inevitable departure, I found solace in the thought that Maria, despite her own struggles, continued to persevere. One fateful Friday, my routine visits took me first to Giacomo's bedside. Carla's unwavering dedication ensured his comfort, providing a semblance of peace amidst the looming shadows of mortality. From there, I journeyed to the nursing home to check on Maria. Despite the constraints of time, I lingered by her side, cherishing the fleeting moments of connection. Her greeting, tinged with a hint of anticipation, hinted at a forthcoming reunion with her beloved son. Yet the tranquility of the afternoon was shattered by a sobering call from the nursing home. Maria had departed this world, leaving behind a void that echoed with the weight of unspoken farewells. Shocked and saddened by the sudden turn of events, I grappled with the realization that her earthly journey had come to an end. The conversation we had shared, her mention of meeting her son at the gate, lingered in my mind like a haunting melody. In the aftermath of Maria's passing, I sought solace in a conversation with Carla. In a poignant revelation, she shared that Maria's reference to meeting her son at the gate likely pertained to Giacomo's brother, who had long since departed from this world. It was a poignant realization, a testament to the enduring bond that transcended the realms of life and death. In the ensuing weeks, Giacomo too departed, his journey reaching its poignant conclusion. And yet, amidst the sorrow that enveloped their departure, there lingered a bittersweet sense of reunion, a belief that Maria and Giacomo were now reunited, their spirits soaring free in the vast expanse of eternity.